Happy New Year, you guys. Welcome to 2026. This is a year a lot of people realize that the system is not getting simpler, cheaper, or healthier. And the families who thrive aren't going to be chasing the trends. They're going to be building skills. That's why we have created the Pantry of Plenty. It teaches you how to stock your kitchen with intention, lower your grocery bill, and cook real food without feeling overwhelmed. This isn't about you being perfect. It's about creating stability in your home and making sure that your family is set up to thrive. If you have ever felt tired of working this hard and still feeling behind, then this show is for you. The Sovereign Kitchen Society is about learning how to build a life that actually supports you through real food, practical skills, and work that makes sense. Each week, I talk with people who've figured out how to feed themselves well, earn a living, and create stability without burning out or giving their life away. You'll leave every episode with ideas that you can use right now to save money, simplify decisions, and feel more grounded in your own life. I'm Molly Bravo. Let's get into it. What is up, you beautiful peeps? We are here this morning with Janet Jansen. There are certain people who can walk into a room and they instantly expand it. And it's not because they're loud or because they're flashy. It's because they are so grounded and they know who they are, what they're here to do, what they stand for, and they make you feel a little bit less uncomfortable just by being in their presence. Janet Jansen is one of those people. She has been voted Alignable's Business Person of the Year for 5 years in a row. She's coached leaders, entrepreneurs, community builders, and she sits on the board of leadership in Santa Cruz County, speaking for women in business, writing a newspaper column as well. And what drew me to Janet's message and her story was a very simple philosophy that she lives by. It's power, play, and purpose. These 3 ingredients, when they're woven together, they create a life that you can truly be proud of. So today we're going to dive into what it means to show up fully, to speak with courage, and to build a life that feels aligned with who you are at your core. Whether you're new to entrepreneurship, a seasoned leader, or someone who knows that you're ready for more, this conversation is here to remind you that your power is not only welcome, it's actually needed. Janet, welcome.
Well, welcome. I just love how you introduced me. That was awesome. And welcome to all of you who are listening to this today. I am really excited and honored that I have the opportunity. A couple of years ago, I was struggling with this idea about what am I going to call my business? You know, when I first started out, maybe 12, 14 years ago, it was Janet Jansen. It was Janet Wyrock. It was, creative workshops. Oh my God, I've been through the different channels. So for any of you who are exploring this idea of what do I want to do? How do I get there? One key tip right away is give yourself the opportunity to organically grow into it without feeling stuck, that once you make a decision, that's it. We evolve, we change, I'm more skilled, more comfortable as we gain more clarity. I mean, it is a growing process. But anyway, I don't want to lose track about my power, play, and purpose, but I wanted to have the 3 Ps. It sort of had a cadence to it. And it also spoke to, and I strategically put power and play in the center, and then purpose. And when I talk about power, I'm not talking about being powerful and being power where you're controlling over. It's really about self-empowerment, about actually getting to a place of comfort with who you are and, what you believe in and what your values are, and believing that that's enough. You don't have to be any more than that. And I have to say that in my business, I follow Tony Robbins. I've got lots of people that I follow, believe me. But one of the things that I've learned through the way is give yourself time for your own ownership. You will evolve into what your key core message is, whatever that might be. And the fact that you may be an at-home mom, you may be raising kids, you have this dream and this vision and you're not quite there and you don't know how to shift your time and your energy and how to make that happen. Just remember that self-empowerment is that quiet energy that's inside. And as long as you nurture that dream and you believe in it, it will continue to grow and to prosper. So for me, the first element of power is your own self-empowerment. And what you want to be able to do with that is have some clarity about what do you want, what you want the world to know about you, how do you want to make people feel, how do you want them to remember you, and what would you like them to do? Or, as some of us call that, a call to action. And later at the end, I'm actually going to give you a little bit of homework and invite you to do that. So that touches a little bit on the power. I address that through how to better understand yourself, the power of communication. I'm a public speaker. I've been in Toastmasters International. I offer an amazing course on speaking up and speaking out loud and just the power of your own voice. And in leadership as well, because you're already a leader in your family with kids. You're already demonstrating leadership. And for speaking, you really just want to be able to say what you mean what you say, and hopefully with some clarity. All we're ending up with is authenticity. People will forgive us for making mistakes. People will forgive a terrible speech. People will forgive my ahs and ums as I'm speaking to you. But the most important thing is, are you going to take away that this person that you're meeting with, this business person, this friend, this colleague, this neighbor, are they being authentic? Are they being real? And that's what I think that all of us are looking for. And especially in today's times where we're like kind of confused about what's true. Just remember, you have your own gut feelings and your own sense of what's right and what's wrong. And please don't ever lose touch with that. So that's kind of how I feel about the power of the first part of power play and purpose. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I love that so much. What resonated with me as you were just speaking is discovering your own unique voice. What message do you have that is uniquely yours that you get to bring to the world and touch people with? How do you recommend somebody tap into that? Are there exercises that they can do to help them discover their unique voice or to discover their gifts that they get to bring forward?
I invite you to think about this, my dear audience out there, and Molly. How courageous are you? Are you willing to flub up? Are you willing to make a mistake? Are you willing to get back up again? Are you willing to keep trying? Are you willing to hang in there until the miracle happens? The bottom line is, it's just practice. Just as we were little toddlers and we were learning how to walk, it doesn't change. I mean, I'm in my 7th decade of living, okay? There's a part of me that doesn't like it, but you know what? I'm learning to embrace it. And what's great about that is one gets a sense of freedom. I can be even more authentic, through my lifetime as I begin to see how it's not so important about what you think of me as a person. But what I invite you is, first, you want to understand, what is it that you want? I mean, whether it's, do you want personal communication Are you looking to really have a business? That first part that I was referring to a little bit earlier of tapping into your own personal power of what is it that you want and having a sense of what that looks like. And I'm really going to invite you to always invite all of the senses that your body has to offer you. We have our voice. We have our senses of sight, of smell, of touch, of feelings and emotions. Close your eyes and just think about what it is that you want. And when it comes to any of us, when we're speaking, is we're always trying to influence somebody about something, right? Whether you're trying to influence your child to please finish the food in their plate, or your partner to please empty the trash, or whether you're talking to friends and you want to influence them about a particular belief that you have or a political, issue. We're always revealing things about ourselves and about the world through our own voice and through talking. So, excuse me, how we do that is we just have to practice. Now, some of the exercises that I invite people to do, if you go to my website, there is a 6-part module that you could take a look at where I offer you some tips and tools and techniques. But I'll give you some of those right now. One of the exercises that I invite people to do is everybody has one of these, right? You have your phone. So record yourself on your phone. Now, what I do is I invite people on a one-on-one, whether it's business or personal, so you can get maybe some constructive feedback, is pick a particular topic or subject that you would like to talk about and give yourself just 2 minutes or less, but just speak about something and record it. And then go back and, if you're brave, watch yourself. Listen to yourself. And if you can, set it up in a place where you're standing. That's even better. So you can see your entire body and your body language. Believe it or not, it can be very revealing about how you speak. Now, I get it as a coach and a trainer. Certainly, I work with individuals and I help pick up habits or patterns in Toastmasters International, for instance. They're watching, are you saying ahs and buts and ums and those kinds of things, filler words. It's just our nerves. And we tend to do it because, and you'll probably hear it in here, I do it, and that's okay. That can be very natural as well. But the idea is that how many times do we really take the opportunity to see ourselves? To really look at ourselves and observe ourselves. And if you can have somebody who can help you do that, that's one of the techniques that you can use. There's a lot of things that I talk about, your voice, your pacing, the tone, the pitch up and down. Sometimes we don't even know. I have to watch it for myself. I come across very strong. I'm very vocal. I can be very loud. I can project. But at times I have to really pull back from that because it can become too powerful. It can be too in your face. So it's really helpful to have the kinds of observations. If your voice is really a nasal kind of voice and you're talking through that, we hear that. You know people that way. You're constantly talking and you've got your hands and your movement and you're really enthusiastic and everything is really wonderful. It can be distracting. It's genuine. It's authentic. But these are the kinds of things that would it be useful for you to be more aware of how you're coming across. One quick story is recently I was working with the Gesher group up at UCSC. Actually, they picked me in my business. I was very honored. But when I got through, a lot of these people on the team were young students doing a lot of intern work. And one guy after work wanted me to coach him. He just needed a sounding board. He needed to know, how do I sound? What do I look like? Do I come across like I have confidence? One of the fun exercises that I do is I have people in groups practice reading childhood rhymes. For instance, you know, Mary had a little lamb, as fleece as white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Well, guess how many different ways that you could say that with tonality, with power, with sarcasm, like Mary. She had a little lamb, and it was white as snow. Now, there's a rhyme, and I've just changed the whole meaning of the whole phrasing of Mary Had a Little Lamb. You can do it. So there's different ways that I work with people in helping them practice how to be a little more comfortable in your skin and have fun, because that's why I picked play. A part of my business name is because if you can't have fun in this life, what's the point? What's the point? Try not to take yourself too seriously, because nobody else really is. We're basically so self-centered about ourselves that we're not always focused on you or on me. So I hope I don't want to ramble with it, but I do get pretty excited about this idea of what can you do to practice expressing yourself, owning your own voice, and some basic, simple techniques that you can use. And there's also the storytelling phase of that. But I do touch on the opportunity of how you can begin to discover how you present yourself. Are you influencing people? And again, it really gets back to, in public speaking, people rarely remember. They may remember the topic, but what they're left it is how you made them feel. That's it, right? And even when you're networking, if you're going out to business events or activities, most people are not going to remember, but what they're going to remember, was it a positive experience or was it a negative experience? And there's some neurological aspects in that you want to pay attention to. Number one, the old brain in us it decides right away, is this person someone I can trust or not? And it only takes a few seconds. In the world of sales years ago, but they used to say that when you walk into a room, you've got 4 seconds. And that gut in you already decides, do I like this person or don't like this person? It could be a physical attribute. It could be a color that they're wearing. All of your senses about you, it's going to look at that person and you're going to make a snap judgment. Doesn't mean that it's right necessarily. I encourage you have conversations with people, but sometimes our gut is spot on. So we do have that. People will judge us right away, but we do it as a safety mechanism.
Okay, quick pause right now. If you're trying to save money on groceries, feed your kids real nutrient-dense food, and get dinner on the table in like under 30 minutes, then this is for you. Our Pantry of Plenty course and essential canning cookbook teach simple systems that make family meals easier, cheaper, and calmer. You can find them exclusively at Wilder Space. Okay, so the first thing that I hear you saying, we have the ability to use communication as persuasion. Is that right? Like
Influence. We're constantly trying to influence people. It's our nature. I want you to like me, and I want you to like what I believe in.
Yeah, totally. The second thing that really stuck out to me, and maybe you can offer a couple of tips, because this is actually where there are two things. I'll start with the first one. I want to talk about networking for a minute, because for any introvert, and maybe some extroverts too, it is terrifying to put yourself out there and step into a room of people that you don't know and to make conversation and to put yourself in the middle of the mix. What are some tips that you have for somebody that is scared to do that?
Well, thank you for the question. And yes, there was a recent, I've done several speaking engagements of the power of human magic in the age of AI. And the reason I talk about the power of human magic is because we're really tapping into those qualities that we have. And I talk about AIM, AIM. The A stands for being authentic. And also, when you think about your own personal power, it's really about self-trust. It's about trusting you, that you know that you're going to go into a networking event or an activity and you've got all the deportment, you've got all the skills, you're a good, decent human being. What do you have to be afraid of? Right? So having a sense of who you are and your own authenticity. The I stands for intention. Why are you going to this event or activity in the first place? And here's where I want to offer some really good tips on that. Is do your homework before you even get there. So let me give you some tips about that. So if you're just to say that whatever your business is going to be and you decide that your networking area requires that you meet a lot of different business people. So I'll pick a local chamber of commerce. That chamber of commerce is going to have a variety of businesses. You don't know who's going to show up. You don't know what kind of business they're going to be in. But if your market is targeted and you know you're going to a specific event or conference or webinar or something like that that is like-minded in your business space, still you need to do your homework. But the idea is, if you know that there's an event, what's the event about? What's the history? The history of the host, maybe. The history of the businesses that are sponsoring. What kind of potential businesses might be showing up? Now, why do you want to do all of that? Is because it gives you some conversational pieces, right? Now, the reason that the Molly's catering event was so successful, besides the food tasting amazing, but it was the level of diversity and people enjoying it that you could talk about the food. Now, I've been to many mixers or chamber events, and the food was okay, and we appreciated it. But there was a lot of diversity, and it really created a lot of fun for our taste buds. So already the networking barrier was already softened because now I could go, my God, this stuffing was so amazing. What do you think? And so ensued was more conversation. So prepare yourself. Understand that the reason you're going to this event, this networking event, is because you decided to go. Right? If you're not ready to go, then maybe you shouldn't go. So do a little background work. Get a little history. Be prepared. Don't be afraid to say, this is the first time I've been here. I've really not been to a chamber mixer. How about you? Have you been? Letting people know that you're new and that your business is new is wonderful. But what I invite you to do is make sure that you ask more questions of them than you just talking about you.
Yeah.
Because there are the givers and there's the takers. And it doesn't take very long to figure out that the person who is talking to you is just trying to influence you to get their business card and to buy their service or their product. And that's not why I go. I want you to feel comfortable with me. I want you to at least appreciate that I'm there to just get to know you. That's it. Curiosity. So curiosity is the key. And remember that you're finding out more about your community and that you're finding a way to be a part of that community. And so ask questions of them. And there's a whole series of questions that you could ask. And I don't think we have time for all of that, but I'm always available if you have any questions.
I love that. So helpful. The second thing just as I was listening to you that really stuck out to me was the aspect of storytelling and how influential telling a story is in the development of helping to grow your business and to build trust and to provide value and to allow people to get to know you. Can you share a little bit about storytelling and your communication style in storytelling and how that can help you as a business owner?
Storytelling is always important, and we're not necessarily talking about putting your story on your website and telling everybody just this amazing, truthful history and cycle of your business. It's a very passive way and it's expected, but then that means we depend on people to read it, right? Or to click it. But when you're face to face and you're with one another, here's a quick little tip that I learned from a guy named Philip Hum, and he has books on storytelling. But you can have a journal, and in the journal, you're just going to have on one column, the side column, just numbers, and the top columns, you can just put story up there for now. You might want personal or you might have business, so you could have 3 stories. But in any given day, things are happening all the time, even interacting with your kids. Why did they resist? What was going on with that? So we can create these little mini stories, and that's what people want to hear. Like I was thinking, because I knew I was going to be talking about this and about making mistakes, and self-empowerment and how do you begin to feel comfortable about yourself. I remember and how I can let you know that my journey in my business has been slow and full of mistakes and oh my God.
Yeah.
And as Molly was saying, we're in business for a long time, and then all of a sudden, 20 years later, we're very successful, right? We got to pay our dues. But I wanted to learn how to do Excel. And I went to Cabrillo College and I took the class, and I didn't realize it was like the Microsoft, the whole big like certification kind of Excel. And at that time, and still today, I'm not the greatest at technology. I know a lot. I have made myself learn a lot of things, but I'm not a whiz at it. And I had been director of volunteer programs for the SPCA, and I was so enthusiastic and so excited, and I put this newsletter out there to blasted it out to the community. And my boss came to me and said, Janet, you can't be putting out newsletters like that. It was filled with typos and grammar mistakes. It was bad. Man, I got off the phone, and we had these weekly meetings. I got off the phone and I knew I was going to get fired. I knew that I had screwed up. And I was already, before the day was out, I had already made 2 phone calls just to cover myself in case I got fired. Well, that following Monday or whenever it was that we had our one-on-one meeting, the director said to me, you know what? She said, I want you to know that I used to be a teacher. She says, but my spelling is terrible. And this is before the internet and self-corrective grammar, and where it gives you suggestions and all that. You actually had to use, your own skills and talent. And that's where I was lacking at that time. And she said, I write all of these letters that I send out from the SPCA. She says, but I give them to Kit. And Kit proofreads them. And it's just like we've got a computer now that's automated AI and has been correcting and spell check for years. So we kind of take that for granted. But I was stunned at the fact to think that I didn't have to be good at everything, that I can go to other people and other experts. And it also told me that she demonstrated leadership to me in a way that I had never experienced it before. Instead of shaming me or making me bad or firing me for that matter, we spent the next 8 weeks or so, and she helped me improve what I was doing. So I just want to let you know that whether you are starting your business, whether you're out there networking, just give yourself some time, practice, 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 and hang with the winners. Make sure that you're either with a group of people, or coaches are really helpful, but there are many groups that you can join that you don't necessarily have to have your own private coach, or at least limit your time with a coach. So one thing I've learned about coaching and consulting is please don't think you have to be married to a coach. You should be able to have a 3 to 6 time period with them with a clear, defined what is the end result
Yeah.
that you want, and they should be able to help you realistically achieve that benchmark, right? Because as I started to say earlier about how do you network, it's called AIM. It's being authentic, it's having intention, and then making sure you have the right mindset. Check that
Very good.
mindset all the time. So that's the true aim of what you want to do when you're networking. Just keep showing up, right?
Absolutely. Man, so much good stuff.
Well,
I love
you told
it.
me to keep talking, so there I
I
am.
am no, I mean, I get so lit up over this, and what I'm really enjoying in what you are sharing. You started by talking about storytelling and how storytelling can help build trust and provide value to others. And through that story that you just told, you wove in the power of leadership, the power of mentorship, the power of being teachable. And what I loved through that story that you just told about your boss at that time is she was able to share and tell a story to you about what happened to her. I get choked up, okay, because it's like, this is the good stuff. And this is why I love to do what I do. It is, she had the ability to meet you exactly where you were at by reflecting on where she came from and how she was able to grow. And I bet that you used that example and that lesson that you learned, and you can apply that to many different aspects of your life. Like, that is so powerful. And fast forwarding just a little bit as we move from power into play and having a great time doing what you're doing, but then really stepping into your purpose. We go through all of these experiences in life that lead us to one particular culminating moment where you understand your purpose and what you can bring to the table. Would you mind sharing a little bit about how you discovered your purpose, maybe how you discovered your purpose through trial and error and making those mistakes, and the things that you've learned along the way? I know that's a lot, but
Well, and Ed, you know what's great? I've got notes all over the place, you guys. I'm telling you, because I got so fired up. But what I did early this morning is I'm in the process of updating my website one more time.
yeah,
Here I am, all excited. I get all this done. Then I have the Gesher group come. They're looking at my website for the SEO. And then what do they end up telling me? Well, you've got great process, but you don't have enough results. And it's like, dang, back to the drawing board. So if I can say anything about websites, please, it's just a business card. And then it's evolving from that. I can't tell you how many times I've upgraded my website and put information in there. Right, Molly? I mean, so don't get stuck with that. So
and
what
I would like to add to that
yeah,
just really fast is that
please.
we never arrive. There is never an end point. So we're constantly going through the refinement process. I think that's one of the really key things that entrepreneurs, especially new business owners, need to understand is that when you're looking at somebody that is a little bit further ahead on the path, they don't have it all figured out. We're always in the process of refining and growing and clarifying.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, because it's like in goal setting. Well, once you've achieved that goal, guess what? Then you got another one.
Yeah.
We're never satisfied as human beings. It's our nature to want the next thing and the next thing. So embrace it. Embrace your imperfections. Just embrace the journey. And, like I said earlier, I'm in my 7th decade of living. I should be much more mature than I am now. I should be much more smarter than I am right now. I should. The bottom line is this is life. It's an ongoing, evolving journey, and each decade of living enriches us in different ways. So go with the flow. I mean, it's really important. So what I did this morning is imagine a circle, and you've got 3 circles: power, play, and purpose. And you know where those circles join. There's always a little space in between where that intersection is. And what I'm always seeking as a human being, what I'm always seeking, whether I want to speak to a team in a business, speak to your group of people, or go into an organization, or I substitute teach sometimes at Cabrillo College for the leadership and supervisory programs there. But listen, the reason I call myself a life and business coach is because your life is in business. It's not the other way around. And unfortunately, Google will not recognize my life in business. It only recognizes work life in business. And I always say we got it ass backwards because your life is in business. So enjoy it. But I have the circles. In the middle of the circle, this is what I'm always trying to achieve: a level of balance, a level of meaning, of feeling centered, of having some gratitude and joy, acceptance of people, places, and things for exactly the way they are. And boy, that's a tough one, right? Principles before personalities. Try to have good principles before you start judging someone. I'm still working on that. What can I say? And that, I believe, leads us all to this self-trust. That, okay, I'm not a genius type personality. I'm not the greatest at technology, but who I am, package me all together. I trust that I can learn. And so that's all I need to do when it comes to being in business. I can learn the next new thing and just trust that. So tapping into our own personal power leads us into play, because play is so important. It is the stress reliever. It is the fear reliever. It is the problem-solving aspect where we can actually chill and relax and feel grounded, and it is where laughter blossoms. Play is so important for all of us. We want children. You want your kids to play. I remember growing up as a kid, we didn't have the computers and all the digital distractions, but going outside and playing was like a really important thing to do. And it feeds that level of creativity. It also helps us with storytelling. It helps us break the ice with people, game playing. It really becomes the neutralizer. So I really advise us to get the play in there, because you were asking about purpose. I didn't forget. Is that purpose? I'm going to give you a quick exercise. This is like the richest thing I've ever shared, and I've shared it over and over again. And I believe it came from a book, Something Parachute. So what you do is you really want to get in touch with your purpose. Or is this the right business for me? Is this what I should be doing? Is this tapping into all of my talents and my skills? So you take a piece of paper, and I want you to go back and write down go back in time. And it could be in your childhood, or it could be it's more past tense. And I want you to write a paragraph or 2, no more, about a project or a piece of a work. You know how many jobs have all these 20 different job descriptions, they set you up for failure, but they want you to do everything, right? So let me give you a couple of examples of how that works. So one of the examples that I used is when I was a kid, one of the things I like to do is I like to build things. So I went out in the backyard. We had this huge open field, and my friend Tony and we built this shed out there. We found scrap tar paper, and I don't know where we got the nails and the hammers, but we built us this crazy little funky shed out in the field, and that was like our retreat. And I don't even know what we did, but I know we went in there and we had a lot of fun. So that was one example. Another one was one of the job descriptions that I had, and I didn't like the computer stuff. I didn't like going and doing the database. I hated that, and I hated it because I didn't have any confidence in myself either. But what I did like was going out into the community and teaching people and doing this workshop, especially in the SPCA, to teach them how they could work with animals. So I wrote that. And there was another one that I did. So short, sweet, and simple. Once you do that, then I want you to go back and I want you to circle all the verbs in your paragraph.
Good.
All the action verbs in your paragraph. And then make a list of all of those. List all of the action verbs. And really be thorough with this. Like when you're talking about things that you've really loved and you enjoyed, if you have to do 3 or more paragraphs, it's okay, but at least do 3 so that you give yourself a good, strong, rich list. Now, Molly, I'm going to ask you. So now you've done your 3 paragraphs. You've circled all your action verbs. You've taken them. You've listed them out. What do you think that might tell you, that list?
I think that it would tell you about the things that you enjoy taking action on. Is that
Very
right?
good. No, you're great. She's a smart cookie, everybody. We knew that, right? But what it also does is make sure that those action verbs are in the work that you do. So
That's
whether
good.
you're looking
That is
like,
good.
isn't that good?
That's
So
an alignment exercise.
Pardon?
It's alignment. It's helping. It's ensuring that you are in alignment with all the things
Yes.
that light you up.
Yes. And it's beautiful because what I would tell people, I used to be a contract recruiter in Silicon Valley, and I used to do these workshops and how do you do your resume, yada, yada, yada. But I'd want to make sure that those verbs were in there. Better, does the job description have those action verbs in it? Because if they don't, you probably don't want to go for that job. So if you're starting a business, and all you're doing is back-end work and doing computer work, Janet would fail in a flat minute because I would hate doing that. It's not fun. So that's why the whole point of that is so important, because it can light you up and it allows for you to be a little creative about how you might look at your work. Remember, purpose lightens the load about what it is that you want to do. I think we get really hung up in this idea, I need to know what my purpose is. What's my purpose? What's my purpose? And I think we can get lost in that too. So it's also, I wrote some notes for myself on this. The other thing it tells us is, what are those natural habits and patterns of behavior that you do all the time that are just sort of natural? Like, I make my bed every day. It's a must for me. That's my anchor. That's my cue that the day is starting. I like my house tidy. I gotta have the dishes done. Now, what does that tell you about me? Not necessarily a control freak, but what it really tells you is I like organization. So what are those skills and those habits that you really enjoy? If you don't like making your bed and you don't mind having your house messy, and listen, and if you have children or you have pets, yes, messy is a part of it. It's nothing personal against you, okay? I want to make that clear. There is a clear distinction, but you may find yourself navigating to making sure that certain things are organized in a certain way. So just pay attention to that. Is that just something that comes natural for you and you enjoy doing? Or it doesn't matter that things are a little on the messy side. Maybe more creative is what you're looking for. And you don't mind coloring outside the lines versus those of us who absolutely had to do within the lines. Those are all hints and clues. And the stories, the other thing I want to say about storytelling and helps you with your purpose too is think about all the things that happened to you in your lifetime so far. And if you had to write about them in little mini stories, just little miniature stories, what does that reveal about your decision-making process, the choices that you made? Why did you make them? What does that tell you about you? Not in a negative sense. Please don't do any of this with negative judgment. That isn't the point. The point is what does it reveal about you? What is it? What's the story behind all of these things that Janet did? If you look at the story of my life, it's always filtered through art, singing, drama, speaking in front of people, being in little miniature plays. So it's no surprise. In fact, my mother said it, Janet, you're a know-it-all. Right? And she meant it in a bad way, but a year later I reframed it and I thought, of course I'm a coach. Doesn't that make sense? It does. So it's just those things that if you reframe them in a really positive, authentic, intentional mindset, positive mind flow way, you can begin to get that kind of balance and that meaning and that gratitude. I mean, just be thankful for showing up today and that your feet hit the floor, because there's millions of people who are not with us today, but we are. So let's make the most of it, right? Let's shine.
That is so good. Okay, so it is, we're wrapping up about now, but what I did want to ask is one last question. Like, this has been so good. I have to have you on again because I could literally just hang on your every word. I love it. And I've gotten so much good stuff out of this. The action items are huge, like taking your life and breaking it into mini vignettes and then looking at those mini stories and looking at it in terms of like, what was my decision-making skill in that moment? Where was I at? What did I learn from that? So rather than like avoiding or like trying to move away from things that have happened in our lives, we're able to lean into those experiences and glean all of the wisdom and the lessons and the growth that comes out of something that could possibly it could feel uncomfortable, but there are like nuggets and jewels in there, which I love.
Right. And I just want to add its perspective.
Yeah.
Perspective is juicy because now you can go back and you can look and you can say, wow, where's the gems in all of this?
Gorgeous.
We're
I love
so
that.
self-judging. So, right?
Cool. So, Janet, if you wouldn't mind, what is just one piece of wisdom that you would hope that every woman who is building a life, a business, or a new chapter, moving into a new chapter in life, what would you like them to be able to just like tuck in their pocket as a little care package?
Wow. Well, a care package could be several things. I guess embrace your beauty of where you're at right now.
Amen. Yeah.
Right? We are, and when I say beauty, I mean your heart, your soul, the whole package of who you've become. And I say from perspective, there is so much self-judgment that goes on. And I want you to carry that power of human magic that you have, that you can impart to your children. And what I want to impart is love and tolerance. because we are going to need this in the power of human magic in the age of AI. And one of my great followers who is really into the AI world, Mo Gadat, and one of the key things that he said to a woman who said, "What do I teach my 3-year-old about where we're going in the future?" And he said, "Love your child." And so it is love. This is it. Don't lose it. Keep sharing it. Keep doing it, because in that, all things are possible.
That is so incredible. Janet, I want to thank you so much. You guys, this totally lit me up. I'm sure that it has lit you up as well. And what I've really enjoyed about this conversation is, of course, we met with food as the nucleus and the medium that brought us together. And so I just want to keep in perspective that food is and always will be our medium for connection. Janet, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys. We will see you on the flip. Have the best
Absolutely.
day.
Go to janetjansen.com.
That's right. Janet,
And you
tell
can
people
get,
where they can find you.
and you
please.
get the free 30-minute chat with me. And I'm a giver. I'm not a taker. So
Yeah.
come and join, and just know it's progress and not perfection, because I'm still growing every day. So come and join me. I'd love to talk with you. janetjansen.com.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you, Molly.
Okay, before you go, if this conversation was helpful, leaving a review is the simplest way to support the show. It helps this message reach more people who are looking for a calmer and more grounded way of living. I just want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing this space with me, and I will see you next time.